Hello everyone. Today this instructional video will show you how to utilize your TBT Data Day 5-minute form. The first thing that you need to do is log into your first class email. On the first class desktop, on the top row, you will find district-wide information. Double click, and inside that folder, look for state and federal programs. Double click again, and you will see a folder in the top left-hand corner that says TBT Requirement Forms. Within this folder is the Step 1 process of Data Day. Go ahead and open the Word document.
This is your Data Day form that you should utilize most often when you're doing a quarterly assessment. Teachers should already come to the meeting with this information filled out. On the left-hand column is the teacher portion. Teachers' names go there. Total amount, total students. Number of blue and green. Blue and green are your advanced or benchmark students. The next one is the number of yellow and red. These are your targeted or intensive students. Again, in this form, buildings utilize this differently. In intermediate, some of them are using numbers. In elementary, most buildings are using student names. Again, you will fill out this form. Blue for advanced, green for benchmark, yellow for targeted, red for intense. Your team needs to determine what does your team believe is advanced, benchmark, targeted, or intense. So before your teachers are able to fill this form out, you will have to determine as a team which cohort the students go in based on what you determine is advanced, benchmark, targeted, or intensive. So we're going to go to the next part of the Data Day form. This is the most important part of the form. We're going to start with step 2 is actually looking at the data from your students and determining what were their strengths. You're going to list the 3 highest scoring questions here. If this is a pre-assessment, then of course we are going to talk about what we think attributed to the strengths maybe last year or some other things that you are doing in the class. If you can look right under where it says Analyze Strengths, it says identify instructional practices that attribute to the student's success. This is a crucial part. Again, if this is a pre-assessment, then you're just talking about what do you think attributed to this maybe in the prior grade or maybe some other things that you're doing in your classroom. Step 2 also is analyzing the obstacles, the 3 lowest scores. So as a team, you are looking at the assessment that you administered, and as a team, coming up with what were the lowest scores as a team. This is an important part. You have to have at least 3 areas there for the lowest scoring, because if you look down at the bottom, identifying learning targets and determine student mastery, you're utilizing those 3 lowest scores or those 3 lowest questions to identify 3 learning targets. So whatever your 3 lowest questions were are now your 3 learning targets. Some teams have determined that they can merge some of those questions and make it 2, but understanding when you are analyzing step 2 for the obstacles, you are selecting 3 of your lowest questions, creating 3 learning targets, and determining with those learning targets what is the baseline data that you have for that learning target, and what are you as a team going to consider student mastery. We're going to go to step 3. Step 3 is where after you have determined what that learning target is, what is your baseline data, what would be student mastery, now we're going to be talking about the instructional strategy. This is the meat of the 5-step process. So step 3 here, we are going to be talking about what will the student be doing in order to refine or meet that learning target? What will the student will be doing? Some teams have determined that they will do it by cohorts, advanced, benchmark, targeted, or intensive. Some teams determine that it's going to be whole group. That is totally based on the team's decision. If you look on the right-hand column where it says determine instructional strategies, what will the teacher do? This is an important part too, where the teacher actually communicates what they will be doing. If it's explicit language, the teacher will use explicit language, and that language needs to be documented in these columns. So whatever the teacher will do, not if the teacher is giving a paper to the kids in a small group, actually what is the teacher actually doing? Explicit language, modeling, those kind of instructional strategies. That will be step 3. Step 4 is where you will determine how you're going to assess students, meaning the mastery. Remember, right here, you are going to be assessing those students maybe in cohorts or as a whole group. Again, that is totally a team's decision. Since this is a quarterly assessment, remember, step 4 and step 5 in this is based on the end of your quarterly assessment, not on your short cycle assessment. We will talk about how you document the information on short cycle in another PD. So step 4 and step 5 would be how you're going to do your post-assessment based on the quarterly assignment. At the bottom, there's some information for notes. This is a great way for just your team to take notes on what their TBT next step is, because this quarterly assessment actually guides your TBT weekly agenda. So I hope that you've enjoyed this session. I look forward to talking to you.